And you know what? Well, we happen to also be talking about anti-bullying. This month is a very popular month for many topics. Yesterday we talked about breast cancer, but right now we're going to be really focusing on the importance of bullying awareness and how we as parents can be more proactive with our children to stop bullying in their social life, in their school, and also just in the community in general. So joining us right now to tell us more of how we can be more involved is Dr. Laura Kester. So Dr. Kester, tell us as parents, where should we be a little more alert to in what situations our children can be influenced by bullying, like locations, places, times?
Good morning. Thank you for having me here today. It's really important for us to remember as parents that bullying can happen anywhere. And so it's really important for us to always be alert and considering that this could be taking place. The most common place that we see bullying is within the schools. There was a survey done in 2015 looking nationally at high school students, and 20% of them said that they had experienced bullying in the last year. But there are a lot of other places that we commonly see bullying. So some of those places include on the way to school, on school buses, on playgrounds. And those are all different forms of direct bullying that we can encounter. So it's also important that we remember that bullying can also happen indirectly, and so it can be happening around our children. And so it's important for us to pay attention to what's happening online, on digital media, because we also see that in those settings, bullying can be just as common.
Yeah, and in some cases even a little worse because they have the safety of being behind something, right? It's not that face-to-face bullying, that contact, which requires a certain amount of courage. You feel a lot safer when you're able to pick on somebody with a device, right?
Yes. And that's what we refer to as cyberbullying. And cyberbullying can be just as harmful, if not more harmful, than traditional bullying. And for the reasons that you mentioned. So one, we know that the people that are doing the bullying, when they're on digital media, can often remain more anonymous. And so it's harder to track them, it's harder to stop them. We know that the bullying can spread much more quickly. And so you can have much more devastating results very rapidly.
Okay, so as parents though, give some advice. What are some signs we should be looking for in our children that may be an indication that either one, they are being bullied, or two, maybe they are the bully?
Yeah. Well, the first thing that parents should always remember is the power of communication. So always talk to your children and empower them to know what to look for as signs of bullying for themselves so that they can actually come to you before you have to identify it and come to them. But if you see signs that you're worried about with bullying, then there's some important things that you can look for. Those would be things like social withdrawal or isolation, increasing signs that your child is being anxious or having trouble sleeping, that they're showing signs of depression, or even worse, talking about hurting themselves or harming themselves in some way.
Okay, and I know in particular it can be difficult to talk with preteens and teens, right? Social development starting to begin, that communication with parents kind of shutting down a little bit.
Yes.
And I imagine though in that type of situation it's even more important that we continue to communicate, right?
It's even more important. And ask open-ended questions. A lot of times when you ask specific questions to teens, they can sort of shrug it off, or if it doesn't directly apply to them, they won't necessarily answer it. So if you see things that seem concerning, take that opportunity to sit them down and say, let's talk for a minute. What's going on? I've noticed that things have been different, that you're acting a little different. Tell me what kinds of things are happening in your life right now.
And where can parents be empowered with some tools and information and resources to better help their children? I mean, I know that we need to communicate with our children about this, but what information do we give them? How do we tell them this is how you should handle this type of situation? Should we go to our physician to find out that info?
Yes, your physician can be an excellent resource. They not only can speak with your child to better prepare them for what signs that they should be monitoring, but they can connect them with resources if they've experienced some type of bullying. We know that the earlier that we intervene, the less likely that those consequences can go on into adulthood, which is the worst sort of outcome. So physicians are an excellent resource to connect you and your child with different resources that exist within the community.
Okay, and I know too that there's a great website as well where people can go for more information.
Children.ucdavis.edu.
Okay, children.ucdavis.edu. Please, parents, go ahead, check out that website, open the communication with your children and be a little more proactive. Make sure that they're standing strong in the face of bullying, right?
That's right.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Kester.
Thank you so much.